Licensure Examination for Teachers. Subject: the teaching profession and social dimensions of education, general education, for both elementary and secondary. Topic: Socio-cultural and anthropological foundations of education. Question number 1. The belief that one's own culture is inherently superior to all others and should be the standard against which all other cultures are measured is known as A. Xenocentrism, B. Inculturation, C. Ethnocentrism, D. Cultural relativism. Correct answer: C. Ethnocentrism. Why C is correct? Ethnocentrism is the tendency to view the world through the lens of one's own culture, leading to the belief that one's group is the center of everything and is superior. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Xenocentrism. The belief that another's culture is superior to one's own, e.g., thinking foreign goods are always better. B. Inculturation. The process by which an individual learns the traditional content of a culture and assimilates its practices and values. D. Cultural relativism. The opposite view, judging a culture only by its own internal standards, without imposing external judgments. Edge knowledge. Break it down: ethno, culture, people, plus centrism, centered. When the question implies judgment or superiority based on one's own culture, the answer is always ethnocentrism. Question number 2. What is the most basic and fundamental agent of socialization responsible for transmitting the initial values, norms, language, and culture to a child? A. School, B. Mass media, C. Peer group, D. Family. Correct answer: D. Family. Why D is correct? The family is considered the primary agent of socialization. It is the earliest and most influential environment where a child first learns the rules of society, forms an initial self-concept, and acquires fundamental cultural competence. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. School. A secondary agent focused on formal knowledge and universalistic standards. B. Mass media. A significant agent in modern society but lacks the intimate, face-to-face interaction of the primary agent. C. Peer group. An important agent later in childhood and adolescence, often challenging or reinforcing family values. Edge knowledge. Think first, intimate. Primary socialization refers to the initial, intimate learning of cultural norms, which can only happen in the family. All other agents are secondary. Question number 3. Lev Vygotsky's socio-cultural theory posits that learning is most effective when a student receives guidance within the difference between what they can do alone and what they can achieve with help. This region of proximal development is known as A. Scaffolding, B. Zone of proximal development, ZPD, C. Cognitive dissonance, D. Schema assimilation. Correct answer: B. Zone of proximal development, ZPD. Why B is correct? The zone of proximal development, ZPD, is the core concept of Vygotsky's theory. It defines the gap between the learner's independent ability and what they can achieve with the guidance of a more knowledgeable other, teacher or peer. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Scaffolding. The method or instructional technique used by the teacher to bridge the ZPD, e.g., providing hints, breaking down tasks, but it is not the zone itself. C. Cognitive dissonance. A psychological state of mental discomfort arising from conflicting beliefs, Leon Festinger, D. Schema assimilation. A concept from Piaget's theory, where new information is incorporated into existing cognitive structures. Edge knowledge. Connect the theorist to the term. Vygotsky, social-cultural theory. The key terms are ZPD, the space for learning, and scaffolding, the act of teaching. The question defines the space, region, making ZPD correct.
Question number 4. In the Philippines, the traditional kinship system extends beyond the nuclear family to include godparents, co-parents, and close family friends. This system of created ritual kinship is known as A. Bayanihan, B. Compadrazgo, C. Pakikipagkapwa-tao, D. Utang na loob. Correct answer, B. Compadrazgo. Way B is correct. Compadrazgo, literally co-parenthood in Spanish, is the widespread Filipino system of ritual kinship, established formally through Catholic ceremonies like baptism or confirmation, which links godparents, ninong-ninang, to the child's parents, creating a new set of binding social obligations. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A. Bayanihan, community cooperation or spirit. C. Pakikipagkapwa-tao, shared identity or human kindness. D. Utang na loob, debt of gratitude, which compadrazgo relationships often incur, but is not the system itself. Edge knowledge, think ritual family. When the question refers to the expansion of family through ritual godparents, the anthropological term is compadrazgo. This reflects the Spanish Catholic influence on the deeply communal Filipino culture.
Question number 5. A new teacher, fresh out of the university, expects her students to complete tasks with minimal interaction or collaboration. This teaching style most directly contradicts which foundational socio-cultural approach to education prevalent in the Philippines? A. Behaviorist conditioning. B. Individualistic critical inquiry. C. Collaborative and cooperative learning. D. Expository teaching methods. Correct answer. C. Collaborative and cooperative learning. Why C is correct. The socio-cultural foundation, rooted in Vygotsky and Filipino pakikisama, bayanihan, strongly emphasizes social interaction and cooperation in learning. Expecting minimal interaction runs counter to this established cultural and pedagogical value, especially in a collectivistic society like the Philippines. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A and D. Behaviorist and expository methods can still incorporate group work. B. While critical inquiry can be individual, the predominant socio-cultural preference is for shared learning and group achievement over purely individualistic pursuits. Edge knowledge. Filipino culture. Collectivism. In a test setting, if a pedagogical style promotes group interaction, harmony, or shared tasks, it aligns with the Filipino socio-cultural norm. A purely individualistic method runs against the grain. Question number 6. The concept of cultural capital, as introduced by Pierre Bourdieu, is most relevant to understanding how educational institutions perpetuate social inequality by favoring students who possess a. High financial resources, wealth. B. Inherited social assets, language, tastes, and styles. C. Strong intellectual potential, high IQ. D. Excellent technical skills, digital literacy. Correct answer. B. Inherited social assets, language, tastes, and styles. Why B is correct. Cultural capital refers to the non-financial social assets that promote social mobility. Schools often implicitly reward students whose language, manners, family tastes, and knowledge base match the dominant, usually middle to upper class, culture of the institution, thereby giving them an unfair advantage over lower class students. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A. This is economic capital. C. This is innate intelligence, which is theoretically independent of social class. D. This is a specific type of skill, while cultural capital is a broad, inherited set of social advantages. Edge knowledge. The key is the prefix cultural. It's not about money, economic, or friends, social, but the invisible assets, speech, etiquette, familiarity with high culture, that the family passes down, which schools unconsciously reward. Question number 7. The process by which an individual, through contact with another culture, retains their own cultural identity but also adapts to and incorporates elements of the new culture, e.g., a Filipino immigrant learning English while maintaining Tagalog, is called A. Assimilation. B. Accommodation. C. Acculturation. D. Cultural fusion. Correct answer. C. Acculturation. Why C is correct. Acculturation involves blending or mutual influence. The individual adopts certain customs and traits from the new culture while still retaining essential elements of their original culture. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A. Assimilation. The process where an individual completely abandons their original culture and adopts the values and behaviors of the host culture. B. Accommodation. A psychological term, Piaget, for modifying one's existing cognitive schema to incorporate new information. D. Cultural fusion. A less formal, more general term than the specific anthropological process of acculturation. Edge knowledge. Think exchange, blending. The key is retain plus adapt. Acculturation is the win-win scenario in multicultural education. Assimilation is the win-lose scenario, losing the original culture. Question number 8. Education's role in introducing new ideas, technologies, and perspectives that challenge outdated traditional norms and lead to societal improvement is categorized as education's function in A. Cultural transmission, B. Social control, C. Cultural lag, D. Social change. Correct answer, D. Social change. Why D is correct? One of the key functions of education is to act as an agent of social change by introducing innovations and new ideas, like gender equality, scientific thinking, or new technology, that deliberately alter existing social structures and norms. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Cultural transmission. The function of passing on the existing traditions and norms of society, maintaining the status quo. B. Social control. The use of education to maintain order and obedience within the society. C. Cultural lag. The phenomenon where non-material culture, beliefs, norms, struggles to keep up with changes in material culture, technology. Edge knowledge. Think movement. When the function is to challenge, introduce, or improve, alter society, it is the role of education as a catalyst for social change. Question number 9. A researcher conducts a study on the relationship between parents' educational attainment and the academic performance of their children. The researcher finds that as parents' education increases, children's performance also increases. In this study, the children's academic performance is the A. Independent variable, B. Intervening variable, C. Dependent variable, D. Control variable. Correct answer, C. Dependent variable. Why C is correct? The dependent variable, DV, is the variable that is being measured or observed in an experiment. Its value depends on the changes in the independent variable. Here, the children's performance is assumed to be dependent on the parents' educational attainment. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Independent variable, IV. The variable that is manipulated or changed to see its effect, in this case, parents' educational attainment. B. Intervening variable. A hypothetical variable that explains the link between the IV and DV, e.g., parents' income. D. Control variable. A variable kept constant so it doesn't interfere with the relationship between the IV and DV. Edge knowledge. Think cause and effect. The cause, manipulated, is the independent variable. The effect, measured, is the dependent variable. Performance is the effect you're measuring. Question number 10. The Filipino cultural trait of sarang pa-ri, destroying one's image, best relates to the educational challenge of A. The difficulty of accepting direct criticism without losing face, amor proprio. B. The tendency toward excessive hospitality during school events. C. The prevalence of patronage politics in teacher promotions. D. The reliance on verbal communication over written contracts. Correct answer. A. The difficulty of accepting direct criticism without losing face, amor proprio. Y is correct. Sarang pa-ri, literally, damaged image, reputation, is the fear of being shamed or publicly humiliated, which is intimately tied to the cultural value of amor proprio, self-esteem, personal honor. In education, this leads to avoiding direct, public criticism or confrontation, which can be an obstacle to constructive feedback. Why the wrong answers are wrong? B. Hospitality is a positive trait, unrelated to shame or image loss. C. Patronage politics relates to the political system, not the sarang pa-ri concept. D. Relates to documentation and communication styles, not personal honor. Edge knowledge. When the question involves a Filipino value related to honor, shame, or public image, the concept is almost always linked to shame or amor proprio, self-esteem, defense of honor. Sarang pa-ri is the ultimate manifestation of a threatened amor proprio. If this video gave you an edge, sharpen that like button and subscribe to stay ahead.